Hi, everybody. If you were just going to wait another minute to see if there's more people coming in, if you can all just mute yourself and switch off your camera, and then we'll leave the questions to the end. All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So tonight we're just going to be touching base about the Au Pair Euro program. We're going to take you through the entire steps of all the what's needed, what needs to be done, and then we're going to open up the floor at the end for some questions. So tonight I've got Amanda with me. She is our program manager for the Au Pair Germany program, and I'm Alms. I'm the program manager for Belgium and the Netherlands program, so we can just get started. So for those of you who might not know who's OVC or might be here tonight hearing for us for the first time, as you know, we are one of the largest organization in South Africa. We have seen many applicants and candidates around the world to different programs. We've got multiple offices across the country as well. So if you have not been in contact with OVC, we will be able to share the details or get the office to reach out to you at the end. And we have been around for 75 years with lots of knowledge. We have personally traveled ourselves. So yeah, so as I mentioned, we're going to cover Germany, Belgium, and Netherlands. The nice thing, you can, choose, like do one country, go on to the next one. So you have an opportunity to spend 3 years in Europe between the three different countries, destinations that we have. So what's nice is also if you're doing one of the programs and you're looking to go on to the next one, which is what we call the travel hopper. So we've got a nice option where you can sign up with OVC on the one, and then when you sign up to join the next destination, there is a special discounted rate that we have going from the one to the other. So you can just chat to your OVC office after with this option, or if you're currently on program, on what it is to take the next one. All right, so let's just start off with what it is needed to be an au pair. So if we just go on the next one, there we go. All right, let's just go with your basic requirement. So as most of you know, au pairing is 18 to 26 for Germany and 18 to 25 for Belgium and the Netherlands. You need to have your matric qualification as your minimum educational qualification for all the three different destinations. Obviously, South African Namibian passport. If you are on a different type of passport from a different country, you can check in with us because there is a case by case where we can take other nationalities as well. Driver's license is a bonus. However, for Belgium, it is a requirement, but it's a bonus for the Germany and Netherlands. And most importantly, you need to have bicycle skills because that is how you're going to get yourself around, how you're going to take the kids to school. So the families want to know that you're confident riding a bicycle. And for Germany, you need to have your A1 German minimum language requirement, which is part of the visa process. But for Belgium and Netherlands, there is no language required that you need to know beforehand. But it's nice if you have, if you speak Afrikaans, understand Afrikaans, it's just a lot easier to pick up the Dutch language. Then some of you might have done your first aid or you're looking into doing a first aid qualification. It is a bonus for host families. It does look great on your application, but it's not a mandatory requirement to have. And obviously, you need to be single with no kids of your own. And if you can swim, another huge bonus on your application. And the most importantly, you need to have childcare experience. So you have to have at least 300 hours of childcare and to be able to provide two non-relative references for your application. Then on to the next thing is some of you might know what it is to be an au pair or what a typical day looks like as an au pair. Obviously, you've got your early morning, you've got your morning routine of getting the kids ready. You're going to do some meal preparation, making lunches, dinner. You're going to take them to school, fetch them from school. You've got your afternoon sports and activities. You've got homework duty, organizing play dates. And keeping your host kids entertained. And then you've got your evening of bathing the kids, getting them ready for bed, and have some family time. And then on top of that, you've got some extra responsibilities like laundry, household. So it depends on the ages of the kids that you're going to look after, and also obviously the um, the household responsibilities is general between the three different destinations. However, you're also going to be part of a family, seen as the older sister in the family's house. So you will have like your free time, you will have your days out with your host family, you're going to spend dinners with them, have meals together, have family time together. So it is a nice way to like to learn, to experience the culture, to share your culture, share your food, the meals, the activities that you do with the kid. So this is a typical thing that you will generally have a conversation with the host family during your interviews in terms of expectation. What do they expect from you on your typical day, your responsibility, and that's just going to make things a lot easier for you. So on to the next one, which is your au pair support. So as many of you know, we work with partners overseas. So they do screening the host family the same way we screen you as an applicant, making sure that you meet all the requirements. They also do home screening, home checks. They organize au pair activities and outings. So they do introduce you to other au pairs so that you can start making friends, and they also obviously check in with you on a monthly basis. Just make sure that you are still happy on the program, you're still happy with your host family, or where there's issues that they can guide you through when you have your ups and downs during your year. They also provide with the necessary paperwork in order to apply for your visa, all the documents from your host family, from the agency, from our side. We also help you with doing your visa application, making sure that you get your visa, and all the organizing of your travel arrangement, etc. Then you also get your medical insurance that will be provided by the host family. So that covers you for the entire year that you're on program. So if you get in a little accident, if you anything that's seen as a medical emergency, your insurance will have coverage for that. And then obviously, as we mentioned, you get your in-country support. So they you get some guidelines as to things that you can do, safety, how to get along with the host family, facing challenges, and again, introducing you to other au pairs and help you to settle in nicely into the country. Then on to our next one, which is what everybody wants to know, but how do I find my host family and what I look for in a family? Will you help me find a host family, or will you give me a host family? So we will guide you, we provide you with guidelines, like questions to ask, what to look for in a host family. But obviously you will have your own little idea and kind of expectation what you're looking for. And that's how you're going to have your interviews with the host family. You're going to talk to the parents, to the kids. You're going to talk to the former au pairs, the current au pairs, and get to know the family to see if you see yourself as a good fit. So our partners also help the host families to find au pairs. They introduce your application to different host family, and then as soon as you just meet with one family to five, it really depends how quickly you get some interest from. Then on to, so what I'm going to do now is just to give you a summary, for each destination separately, and we can provide you with a summary of the comparison sheet of for those of you that's looking into different destination. So for the Netherlands, so as I said, your age is 18 to 25. You need to get your visa before you turn 26, and you work about 35 hours a week. So you've got 2 days off a week, and then the other 5 days is depending on the ages of the kids in the school and so on. You earn a monthly stipend of €340. So that's what you'll get from the host family, which you can then spend on traveling, going out with your friends, visiting museums, etc. And then you have to commit for 12 months on this program. So, and then you also get a Dutch language course. So you don't need to know Dutch beforehand. But as I said, Afrikaans, Dutch, very close to one another. And then you also, what's nice is with the European program is that your visa allow you to visit all the Schengen countries where you can travel within Europe. So then you can jump from the one to the other, have weekend trips with your friends, and so on. You also going to do some household chores, as I mentioned, as part of your typical day as an au pair. And the most important, biking. The Netherlands is very famous biking. If you go on YouTube, you search Netherlands and biking, you're going to find hundreds of videos. So part of your application, you actually need to include a short clip of you riding a bicycle so that the family can see how confident you are on a bike and that you can get around with the children. But as I mentioned, a bonus skill is just to have a driver's license, but it's not required. You're actually not going to drive a car in the Netherlands at all. Then we take it on to Germany. So Germany, you need to get your visa before you turn 27. So that's another, for those of you that's getting close to 26, you've got another year to work on it. Germany, you also work about 30 hours a week, but you get a monthly stipend of €370 a month. And so now, Germany is the only destination where you can choose to go for 6 months or a 12-month placement. So if you're looking for something a little bit short, there's your way to go. And the host family obviously gives you allowance to do a German language course where you can then do your A2, B1, B2, and then advance on that. And then again, you can also still travel around Europe with your visa, but you're also going to have some household chores, and your minimum language certificate that you need to have is your A1, which is your entry level of knowing German. So you can watch YouTube videos, you can download language app, you can teach yourself German, but you have to do your exam through the Goethe Institute, because that's the only one that the embassy approves as part of your visa document that you submit on the day that you go. Then lastly, we've got Belgium, which is very similar to the Netherlands. Also needing to get your visa before you turn 26. But you work about 20 to 25 hours a week, so you have less hours and more time to travel. You earn a monthly stipend of €450, and it's also a 12-month placement program. And then the host family, as part of your, together with your stipend, you get an allowance to do a French or a Dutch language course that you have to do throughout your year, which is for, part of the program requirement, like to be on the program. And also bike riding skills, which is also really beneficial and good to have. But the family is almost 99% of the families want au pairs with a driver's license, because you're more likely gonna drive a car than just biking on your own. So and then also again travel around Europe in that. Then I am going to give it over to Amanda, who's going to take you through what it is to get the process going.
Thanks so much, So I'm going to be chatting about the fees and how much it's all going to cost you. So keeping in mind that we've just separated it for every single destination. And if you're interested in a particular destination, we do have an info brochure that's got all the program requirements and information, and it also has a nice cost breakdown. So overall, from A to Z across the board, uh, ballpark figures, you're probably looking at needing roughly about 25,000 Rand for each different destination. You're not going to be paying all of that money up front. So obviously on the screen, we have pretty much given you the breakdown. So the reason why I've started off with the Netherlands is because they always work a little bit differently or a little bit backwards to the other destinations. So their application fee is a lot smaller. But with the other programs for Germany and Belgium, your host family actually covers your air ticket. With the Netherlands, because there is no program fee, and there is no placement fee, and there's no visa fee, you have to then still contribute towards your air ticket. And what we've done is we've to make it easier to be able to kind of like not afford it, but just to make it easier in smaller batches. You'd obviously first pay your application fee. So you need to pay your application fee to be able to start your application. So if you had to say tomorrow, okay, great, I'm really super eager, I'd like to start, you'd first pay your application fee and then you would start and get busy with your application. You're going to be chatting to your a consultant who's going to guide you every step of the way. Once you've completed your application, you then are going to complete an interview process directly with your OVC consultant, and your application is going to be submitted through to our partner. They're going to review your application, and then from there, they will then accept you and then put you into circulation. Once you have been accepted and once you are in circulation, it's then that you make your first payment towards your acceptance fee or towards your ticket. We call it the acceptance fee. So that is 5450. So you pay that once you have been accepted by our partner, and that's your first payment that you're going to be making towards your air ticket. The reason why we take it then is because then we confidently know that our partner is definitely going to be able to place you. So we take that there, and then you will go into circulation. And when you're in circulation, you're going to be chatting with various different host families, and you're going to be, obviously chatting to them probably over quite a week or 2 weeks, depending on obviously on how long it takes. And then eventually you're going to have a match with a host family. And once you are matched, that's when you would then pay for the second payment of your ticket. So that's when you would pay what we actually call the official ticket contribution, and that would be 7,800. So all in all, your contribution towards your ticket is going to be roughly between 12 and 13,000. It is 99% that your ticket is going to be more than that, but you don't have to worry about the balance. Your host family will then cover the balance. But because there is no program fee and no visa fee, then you do have to make that contribution towards your ticket. The visa, like I said, there's no fee. It first actually gets approved. There's a whole lot of paperwork that needs to happen, and it first gets approved in the Netherlands. And then once it's approved, you then apply for it here at the embassy in South Africa. Included in your program is also your medical insurance. The flights is as above, and then we just would like for you to take some spending money, because remember that your first month that you are going to be within the Netherlands, you will then obviously then only earn your pocket money at the end of that time. So have a little bit of spending money for you to be able to enjoy your first month. Um, Obviously, also with your application, there are going to be other fees such as medical tests. So once you've been accepted by our partner, your OVC consultant will chat to you about it and let you know exactly when you pay and what you pay. But there will be some official medicals that you would need to do. And those are typically 4 blood tests that you would need to do and that you would pay once you have been accepted. And those could range from anything from about, say, 1.5 to 2,000 Rand plus minus. Germany pretty much works very similarly. So the only thing is the host family would then cover your air ticket. So if you are going to commit for a full 12 months, then your host family pays for your air ticket. If you are choosing Germany because you want to go for a shorter time period, so anything that is less than 12 months, you would then have to pay for your own air ticket. So just to keep that in mind, whilst Germany is flexible, there is that TNC type of thing with regards to the flight. But you would then pay first upfront your application fee, which is 5450, and that's to start your application. And once you have matched and placed with your host family, that's when you would then pay your program fee, which is 75. Your visa fee is paid directly to the embassy, and that's 80 euros. And included in your included in your program is your medical insurance, your flight, obviously, if you're going to commit for your 12 months. And then we just recommend that you take about 350 euros spending money. Also included in that 25 that's not there is your A1 language certificate that you need to do through the Goethe Institute. So that's roughly about 4,000 Rand plus minus, if my memory serves me correctly, and that is included in your 25. So just to keep that in mind. And then Belgium is also in the area of 25. So it works very similarly as Germany. So to start your application, you have an application fee of 5,450 Rand. You would then start your application, you would complete your application, it gets submitted and then you would go into circulation. And once you are matched and placed with your host family, that's when you would then pay your program fee, which is also known as your placement fee, and that is 7,500 Rand. Your visa fee, you would then pay, it's a total of 202 Rand, and euros, sorry, I wish it was 202 Rand. So it's 202 euros, and that gets paid directly on the day that you go for your embassy appointment. And your medical insurance is included, so that's all sorted. Your flights are included, and then we just recommend that you take about 450 euros for your first month there. The 25,000 for Belgium does exclude your medicals, so there are with Belgium, when you are matched and placed with your host family, when you go for your visa, there are specific medicals that you need to do, and you can't go to any doctor. You have to go to what they call a panel doctor. So OVC will give you that information with regards to where to go, etc. So just to ask your OVC consultant to be able to give you a budget in terms of what the medical fees will be. But overall, you're looking at it's going to cost you roughly about 25,000 Rand, which is really quite affordable if you consider you're going to be living in Europe for a whole period of 12 months. I do just want to say that you're not going to be going to Europe to au pair to make lots of money. So if that's what your aim of the game is, please get that out of your head completely. You're going to go to au pair in Europe because you want to do something that you love, looking after children, and you want to pretty much travel and explore as much as of your host country and any other parts of Europe as possible, and claim the bragging rights to say that you've managed to be able to spend a year in Europe. So it's more about the cultural exchange. It's more about the opportunity of actually being there and living there than making tons of money or anything along those lines. So just to keep that in mind. Whilst you're not going to be earning a salary, you'll be earning pocket money, remember, or what they also call a stipend. So you'll have enough money to be able to live. You won't have any living expenses. So your accommodation is covered because you're going to be living with your host family, and you also your meals are going to be covered as well. So it really is a great opportunity. And in Europe, you don't work a lot. I mean, you've heard Alms say that in Germany and in the Netherlands, you work about 30 to 35 hours. Belgium, you work anything between 20 to 30 hours. So it's really not a lot of work, especially if you enjoy looking after children. You're going to be doing something that's probably comes naturally to you, and you're going to have this opportunity where you can get to have all these amazing new experiences. So the next couple of slides that we have is pretty much our OVC au pair. So I'm always very proud to show the next couple of slides because every single one of these photos is pretty much a legitimate OVC au pair. And if you go onto our socials and you have a look at our handles, etc., I would probably say that 90% of all our content, all our photos and our pictures is you guys. So it's you guys that send us through all these amazing photos of all these wonderful adventures that you go on from different parts of Europe. And every single day, I think we all get so inspired, a little bit jealous, to be honest, but very much inspired by all of our girls that are and guys that are able to have this wonderful opportunity. So you really are going to be, yeah, living your best life, experiencing things that you would probably not do in South Africa, like ride a weird contraption called a buckfeet, or go and eat a stroop waffle, or have a pretzel, etc., or have a Belgian waffle. So really, really amazing opportunities for you to be able to get to explore. Uh, I didn't realize there were so many photos. I mean, of course, there's always the festivals. I think Europe is renowned for all the various different festivals. And if you're a big foodie, lots of food. I mean, I love food. So, I mean, for me, it would just be like an absolute dream. So, I think one of the biggest questions that we always get asked is, which is better? Like, is there like a better country that I can go to? And in all honesty, if it's the States or if it's Europe, they really are. You've got to figure out which is your destination for you, because there really is a destination for everybody, and you've got to work out what you feel the strongest attraction to. So why would you wanting to go? Like, are you like an old soul? Do you enjoy culture? Do you enjoy the arts, etc.? Then obviously then Europe is going to have quite a big pull. So definitely do your research so that you can figure out which is going to be the best destination for you, and also what's going to be well fitted for you in terms of, because there's a lot of the European destinations that can be quite finicky in terms of actual applicants and what they're looking for in terms of ages and things like that. So, chat to your OVC consultant so that you can get a good understanding in terms of placement and how long it's going to take and things like that. The best place to be able to see all of those amazing photos and to, I suppose, really get a feel for who OVC is and hopefully become inspired is to just go and have a look at our socials. They're full of testimonials, they are full of little videos, they're full of hints and tips. So definitely go and have a look at our Instagram and our TikTok page, and then obviously for the parents, that's old people, then there's obviously always Facebook as well. But yeah, that's pretty much brings us to the end of the presentation. I think Elms and I are just going to open it up to see if there's any questions. So if you feel brave enough, you are most welcome to unmute yourself and put your camera on if you want to and ask questions, or you can also pop them in the chat box as well, and we can answer those as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think we can give it a few minutes. I see that we have someone from Namibia, which is awesome, and we have some people from East London. So if you haven't put your details in our chat box, we would really appreciate it, just so that we can ask our officers to reach out to you, just to kind of like follow up and answer any questions that you may have, because I know what it's like. It's often information overload, and you're going to wake up at 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, or at least I do, thinking like, oh my gosh, I should have asked this or I should have asked that. Teresa, you've got a question, so you are most welcome to go ahead and ask your question. Yeah, go ahead and ask.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, I've recently paid the application fee, so my application process is undergoing right now. So I just wanted to know, what kind of red flags do we have to look out for as au pairs when like going to the interview process, because I'm going through an interview process very soon.
In terms of host families, like when you start chatting to host families.
Yes, because I know that they also have very strict requirements for us as au pairs. So I want to know, how can we also protect ourselves as au pairs? Because sometimes the host families can be exploitive or something.
I think what you have to remember and what you need to keep in mind is that all the host families that are partners, and that's one of the reasons why we belong to IAPA and why our partners belong to IAPA. It's an international a network of au pair agencies that pretty much set rules and regulations for how the au pair programs are to be run, so that there is a very minimal people taking advantage of au pairs. So you definitely need to know that all the host families that have been recruited by our partners have been vetted as well. As much as you have gone through the process, you have been interviewed, you have had to supply references, prove your childcare experience, show medicals, etc. All of that stuff. So have host families. Their homes have had to get visited. They've had to prove that they financially can afford to have an extra person in their home, that they're working, that they have children. They also have to agree to rules and regulations. They also have to sign agreements, etc. So I think it's really important that you know and you understand that. I also think it's important that when you start talking to host families, they're not most of them are not they're not looking for cheap labor. Sadly, I think au pairing has a bad light. They're looking for a cultural awareness for their children. Like, yes, it's obviously helpful that they have you to be able to help with the kids as well, but they want to expose their kids to different cultures, to different countries, different languages, etc. And that's obviously one of the reasons why they've joined the au pair program. So when it comes to like red flags and what to look out for, I'd really like to think that most of the host families that you're going to be chatting to are going to be really friendly, really engaging, and really welcoming, and really wanting to get to know you as a person. I would say, everyone is different. What I want is not exactly what you might want in a host family. So you have to be really realistic with yourself in terms of saying, like, okay, what am I looking for? Am I going to be fairly open in terms of like a single parent or a same-sex host family, or am I going to only want a two parents? How many children am I going to be able to look after? Can I, deal with special needs, etc.? What kind of household duties? And so that is what you're going to probably be asking the host family as well. So you definitely want to have a list, and your OVC consultant should be able to give you some kind of guideline in terms of the questions. But my advice to you would be, when you first sit and you start chatting with a host family, don't go guns blazing in with all the questions. What are my hours? When will I get paid? Like when's my time off? You need to also remember that this is also a job interview, and you need to pretty much also earn respect, but you need to show that you're interested in the host family as well. And you need to see if there's a connection between you and your host family. So that's really important. And the only way that you're going to find if there's a connection is if you try and get to know them. So you want to find out, obviously, you'll be given like a profile of the host family, but the only way that you are going to be finding out is by asking them questions. So everyone is different. So you'll be given a profile. You're going to have to ask them questions with regards to, obviously, yes, questions that relate to your au pair schedule and what they would want you to do with the children, so that you can kind of like see if that aligns with your expectations, etc. But you want to try and find out, what type of family are they? Do they sit down and have meals together? Like, is that what you're after, or are you okay with just eating with the kids and then the parents eat later type of thing? So it's quite different, but my advice would be like, is try and get to know the host family first. See if there's a spark, if there's a connection, and then from there you can then start asking, the little itsy bitsy questions that you will want to know. And also, importantly, I would definitely say, and I'm sure your OVC consultant will tell you as well, is that if you want to find out if they currently have an au pair at the moment, and if they do, could you speak to that au pair privately, just to try and find out a little bit about their day and what they do, and how they maybe find the children and the host parents and things like that. So sorry, I went a bit on a mission there, but hopefully that helped you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. I don't know if there's any other questions. I promise you I'm not always so long-winded. I say that with a evil grin. Hi, Somabisa. Did you want to
Hello,
ask a
I
question?
also have a question. Hi, how? Yeah, I do. So I just want to find out because I'm actually trying to get into au pairing for the second time now. And the last time I had gone through everything, speaking with the host family, obviously different agency that I went with. Um, so I went through family and then I got to the final stage where I had to do my my visa, and things got a bit messy there where I had to do my visa interview twice, which I didn't get in, which, it's quite sad when you've already spent so much, with the travels and everything. So I just want to find out with your, like this agency, what happens then when an au pair doesn't get through, and so what happens like financially? Do you get some money back or what happens there? I just want to understand that. Thank you.
Before you go, can I just ask not which agency, but which, was it for the US by any chance that you applied for?
Yes, yeah, it
Okay.
was the US that I had tried for. Yeah, and that was last year. So that's why I just want to find out, if that doesn't happen, then what happens with, obviously I know your au pairing journey comes to an end. So what do you guys do in that case?
So I don't want to be what they call a Varamabek, but we are very lucky in the sense of with the US is very temperamental. I think that's probably going to be about the most PC way that I can describe. So they are at the moment. There's obviously lots of ups and downs in terms of applying for visas. They have become a very strict over the last, say, 2 years. And it's becoming quite challenging, to be honest. However, with Europe, it is very different in the sense of the application for the visa is actually first applied in the European country. Touch wood, I have never, ever, ever had anyone who's applied for our European three countries being refused their visa application. So touch wood, you that doesn't happen to you. But if for let's say for example you apply, and let's say for example you apply for the Netherlands, right? And let's say for example 3 4 months have gone by and there's no interest, or there's no host families that are wanting to match, etc. The fees that you would have paid to up to that point would be non-refundable. However, we can then look at another destination. So we do have things in place where we can swing you to another destination. So obviously we've got to get the buy-in from obviously all parties, etc. It is going to mean probably more time and more energy from your end, definitely lots of time and energy from our end. It's in our best interest to be able to place you. So when you start an application with OVC, a lot of the times you can find us to be quite pedantic, and we're like, oh, but you want to try and we want the best of your application, because we want to try and bring out the best of you, because we know that if you're going to do a wonderful video, for example, and that is actually something that you would need to do, and if we ask you to redo a video, it's not because we're having a bad day, it's because we know that your video probably is just not up to standard and compared to the other au pairs, and your video, for example, can make such a big difference. So it's in our best interest to be able to get you placed, but we do have measures in place where we can say, okay, well, okay, that didn't work out, so let's try and look at moving you over to another destination. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you so much. It does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sure, I'm getting some hard questions here tonight. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, I think that's it. I think Elms, if I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but yeah, just a big thank you from both of us for listening in. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your OVC consultant, and I'm sure they will be able to answer them, and hopefully we see your applications as program managers very soon.
Perfect. Yeah, there's nothing else added. Thank you so much for those that have sent your name and location. We will get the officers to reach out to you tomorrow. And yeah, then for the rest of you, you can just reach out to your consultant to get your application started. But thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a lovely evening. Take care.